Today, I want to talk about the 1945 general election, and it all happened 80 years ago this month. Although the Nazi surrender in May 1945 brought the war in Europe to a close, hostilities continued in the Far East. And Winston Churchill summed it up by saying, "We may allow ourselves a brief period of rejoicing." And people did. On VE Day, after all the sadness, hardship, and restriction of wartime, there was something to celebrate at last. But this new situation left the wartime government with little to do, where there was so much that had to be done in post-war Britain. There hadn't been a general election for 10 years, so there was universal agreement that there ought to be one. Polling day was to be July the 5th. During the campaign, Winston Churchill visited Uxbridge one afternoon in June. His visit was advertised, and a large crowd gathered in front of the underground station. I, then a teenager, joined them. Churchill arrived in an open-top car with the inevitable cigar and the inevitable V sign, but he received a mixed reception. Some admired him for his conduct of the war, but others felt that it was the Labour Party's programme of social reform that was needed now. Full employment, nationalisation, social security, and a national health service. So I'm afraid when Churchill gave them the V sign, some responded with their hand the other way round. He stayed for about 20 minutes before driven away. I don't think he got out of the car. I seem to remember it was an open-topped vehicle, so he just stood up and spoke. In this constituency here in Uxbridge, there were three candidates. John Aylett, a local solicitor, stood for the Liberals. The Conservative was the sitting member, John Llewellyn, a former army officer. He won the Uxbridge seat in 1929 and he was still there. The Labour nominee was Frank Beswick, a journalist who had joined the RAF Volunteer Reserve in 1942 and had qualified as a pilot. When all the results came in, it proved to be a landslide victory for Labour. They won with an outright majority of 146 in the House of Commons, which gave them, of course, the ability to carry out their ambitious policies of social reform. Churchill, the Great War leader, was pushed aside. Uxbridge followed the national trend. The results here were Aylett, Liberal, 8,300. Llewellyn, Conservative, 24,100. Beswick, Labour, 25,190. A Labour majority of 1,084. Before this, Uxbridge had always returned a Conservative to Parliament, and now for the first time they were sending a Labour man to Westminster.